I guess this is the second night of the RNC. I didn't watch the first. Not gonna watch this one either. Um, Watching MSNBC, they had a little round table with Michael Steele and some other folks that I don't know their names. Michael Steele made a really great point about Nikki Haley, former, I think he was the governor of South Carolina, or state rep or something, how she had them take down the Confederate flag. And he mentioned about, well, she said it the other night, and he mentioned how that's burying the lead, that there were a lot of people that pushed her to do it, as well as that murder in Charleston at the church, that horrific crime that was committed by the terrorist Dylann Roof. And he was just putting out there how this was burying the lead. This is this idea that we conservatives were better, and he was talking about how this is out of odds with Trump, who was sending federal agents out to protect statues and stuff. This is not it's not legitimate. If you're a white supremacist, be a white supremacist. Don't be a white supremacist and then say, well, white supremacy is wrong. No, that's illogical. You see? Because if that's what Trump was presenting, I don't think you'd have these protests and all this violence. These protests and the violence started up because people feel like federal government is a bad guy. That's why we're burning up courthouses and shit, because you guys, you're the bad guys. You want martial law all over the country and stuff. This is what that is. And I thought to myself about how that's what conservatives traditionally do. And this is why you have to know history. And you can't just say, well, this is why things are the way they are. You got to know history. Eugene Debs, other well-known, socialists that were in the trenches, that had their boots on, that were fighting for us. They're the reasons why we have a 5-day work week. They're the reasons why we got a 40-hour work week. You've got unemployment. You've got all these kind of benefits. MSDS, I keep mentioning that, where if you get sick, if there's chemicals in a factory, they've got to tell you what those chemicals are if they're dangerous to human life. Conservatives, capitalists, they didn't just do that. They didn't just one day turn around and, let's treat people better. Like, that's not how your game is played. But this is the danger in, how the old African proverb go, that until the lion learns how to write, the hunter he'll write the history. He'll write all the tales. All the tales will be in his language, in his handwriting. This is what they do. That's why a Majority Report, I really kind of clicked in with them, talking about using leaded gasoline, and how we know that makes people go insane, that makes crime rates go up, and that there was a low level of lead in everything with them doing that, putting lead in gasoline, other kind of chemicals and asbestos and DDT, and now we have climate change. You've always had this corporate thing, this corporate following of sheeple who just, Silent Spring. That's a great example. A woman that wrote the book Silent Spring, talking about all the pollutants, the poisons, the pesticides, how it would be a Silent Spring. And White House looked at it and was like, yeah, this is true. You had folks back then calling her a communist. This is what they do. Anything that goes against corporations and it keeps the engine from going, you're a communist, you're a socialist, you're whatever, you're the bad guy. When, this is insanity. It's insanity. It's anti-intellectualism. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna leave. So I read Cedar Post. there was one thing about reading that, it's a police blog, is I realized the siege mentality many of these officers have and how out of touch with the community they truly are. So you guys know that the RNC is in Charlotte. You don't know the RNC is supposed to be in Charlotte. Before, Roy Cooper, that's our governor, had told Republicans that follow certain safeguards to prevent COVID spread. Republicans said no. They were going to go to Jacksonville, Florida. They ended up having to come back here. I remember reading on Cedar Post about cops that were talking about how I'm a lifelong Democrat and this time, right, I'm voting Republican. You know, we missed out on all this money. But wait a minute, Cooper didn't. It's like if I give you a ride and I say, man, you got to put that cigarette out before you get in my car, and you get pissed off and your girl's like, well, he said you couldn't ride. Like, I didn't say that. I gave you a caveat. To do this, you have to do that. If I say, hey man, finish that drink for you, I don't want an open container in my car. That's a reasonable concern. I don't want to get pulled over with an open container. If I say, hey man, put out that blunt over there, I can do that. And that's completely reasonable, but for those cops, all they saw in rednecks is money. Is the fact that this is a big, interest. Why can't we allow this in our city? So now that the Republicans came back and they've had to follow these regulations, no one on Cedar Post is saying anything. You don't hear anybody saying good. See, I respect Roy Cooper for that. You know why? Because he ain't no bitch. In my mind, he will always live on as the governor that said, no, you can take that shit somewhere else. But until you wear masks, these preparations, you cannot have this convention in my state. You can't do it. And he told them, and he held firm, and they had to do that, But they don't. I just realized with conservatives that when it comes to corporations, like, they think you have to be raped. Like, the idea of holding out to have safeguards for your health, protection for your health and all that, they don't understand that. They think that to get a job, you've got to do something that's harmful for you. And I don't believe that working somewhere means I have to do things that affect my health in a deleterious manner. Peace.